Dave Duford here at Final Expense Agent Mentor, where I help agents like you succeed in selling insurance. As you can see, I'm sitting here in a big parking lot, about to take a trip up to Chicago and do a little consulting assignment. Might talk about a little bit more sometime next week or the week after. So the purpose of today's video is really to help out our newer agents or those agents who aren't really satisfied with the type of insurance product they're representing. The title of this video is How to Pick the Best Insurance Product to Sell. One of the things I hear a lot from new agents that are coming into this business, they say, look, there's seemingly a lot of different products out there. How do you choose and pick which product is going to be the best choice for you? That's a difficult thing to navigate sometimes. So I've created a quick list here of five factors that I think you need to consider and weigh. And what I would ask you to do if you're, again, in this particular situation, take notes on the aspects I'm going to discuss. I would go ahead and assign a value to each of these to help you kind of determine which type of product is going to fit you best based on your personality and based on these types of characteristics. And then really try to narrow down one or two particular type of products that work best. One thing I'll add before I jump into the list, the underlying assumption with this particular video is that you're going to sell one particular type of product. I think that is a given for new agents, at least. I think over time you can certainly add more products to sell. But I think starting off, it's in your best interest as a new agent to pick one product you really feel passionate about that makes the most sense to you and what you're trying to accomplish, and then completely focus your intensity and effort on it. So let's go ahead and start with the first point we need to cover, which is the type of population you enjoy working with. So as you guys know, I work primarily in the final expense business. That means I work primarily with people who are on a low income and a fixed income, who are usually 50, 60, and older for the most part. I like this population. These people generally make decisions the same day. I just like their life experience. I've always preferred working with people who are in the older age range just by default. That's my personality. However, I can tell you I've recruited hundreds of agents in this business, and there are people who determine and discover that working in this segment is just not for them, and that's completely fine. So you have to figure out, based on your prior experience, what kind of marketplace really works well for you. Maybe you come from a business to business background. Maybe you've sold medical equipment or copiers or something like that to small businesses, and you really like that approach. It would be logical, if you already appreciate that approach, to look at products that you would sell to that same kind of sales process and that same kind of environment. Because if you have strengths in that direction, then why not use them? At least that's how I think. Also, you've got different markets I'll mention here. Of course, you have low-income senior markets, would be great for final expense. Also, Medicare Advantage. I would look at the middle-income markets to be great for seniors, to be great for Medicare supplements or turning 65 Medicare-type sales. Also, annuity business would be great if you like the seniors and you like a more middle-class market and you want to help them with moving their money around if they have questions and concerns. If you don't like seniors, of course, you have the business market, which is where you would sell business owners, or the corporate market if you're looking for larger sales opportunities. And then you've got what many deem to be called the middle America, which would be typically people mid 30s to mid 50s, still working, maybe gray collar, blue collar type, maybe even white collar to some extent. Of course, that branches out into other products like mortgage protection would be great with a market like that. White collar professionals, disability sales would be great. Also, that kind of falls into the key man sales. So there's all sorts of different kinds of markets out there. You just kind of have to figure out through, again, I would call it self determination based on what you've done well with, or just the kind of bias you have, which market is going to work well with you. You don't want to mismatch here. I've never really liked the middle market. Working the mortgage protection market, say, never was my first appeal. Again, I'm used to working 50 and older people. That's where the business I came from when I was a personal trainer. So it was just a logical extension, which is why I did final expense. Now, number two here is a technical versus non-technical product. So what I mean by that is you got to ask yourself, how much knowledge are you comfortable spending getting to know the intricacies of your product? Or better yet, how much knowledge is known in order to effectively sell what it is that you're selling? So again, go back to final expense is what I sell personally. Final expense is a non-technical product. You need to know underwriting, but as far as the product works, it's very simple. You either need burial insurance or not. You want to be buried or cremated, and it's something that's a concern for you. So it's very simple and straightforward to understand. Whereas maybe you start getting into something like Medicare, there's a lot more moving parts with Medicare. Not necessarily that complicated. But hey, if you go in and don't know Medicare and you're selling some type of Medicare plan, you could potentially hurt and damage somebody in the sense of their access to healthcare and so on and so forth. Maybe estate planning, highly technical product, or advanced life sales. So again, some people are more inclined to those kind of products. That again would be great. So if you want something just to sell, the simpler the product, the better. I think markets that are the least non-technical include mortgage protection, also final expense, Medicare. To some extent would be a step above, but definitely final expense and mortgage protection are the least technical, with Medicare and then disability, estate planning, business markets being a little bit more complicated. Again, depends on the product. Number 3 factor to consider is the speed of the sales cycle. So when I say speed of the sales cycle, that means how long does it actually get from you meeting your prospect to closing? Some sales cycles or sales funnels are very quick. Final expense is a one-call close 90% of the time. I'm sure most Medicare sales are too, although that may be different if you're a T65, turning 65 agent, where there's a little more uncertainty on behalf of the consumers about Medicare. They may want you to come back at a later date. But mortgage protection is a one-call close sales cycle. Annuities usually take several steps before you totally close the deal. Sometimes different factors may be floating around there and roll that business over. It depends on how you're rolling it over. Also, sometimes more advanced life sales are in the same boat. So a lot of this comes down to how quickly you need to get paid and how quickly you want your cash flow situation to be. So, if you like one call close sales better, generally speaking, your cash flow is going to be faster that way. With the longer the sales cycle, sometimes the commissions are a lot better. Usually they are with a longer sales cycle, but the cash flow is a bit slower. It takes a couple of months to close. Might make more money off the sale, but again, you're not going to get paid until quite a while later because there's more moving parts. Number 4 consideration to make if you're looking to get into the insurance business and don't quite know where to start is it is important to you to get a first-year driven commission product to represent, or is something renewal based as the main driver of the commission more important. So this is a big deviation. One of the advantages of selling a life product is that usually most life insurance products are first-year driven. So the commissions can be very big, several $1,000s and up, depending on the kind of product you're selling. And if you couple that with a one product or one call close product, it can be nice that you get a high commission on a lot of sales. The downside with many life products is you're not looking at a large renewal stream. Yeah, there's going to be renewals, especially with whole life or simplified issue products, but not to the extent that many people are actually going to reach retirement off of their renewal streams. Whereas, or however, compared, if you look at, say, a Medicare product or disability, something that has a renewal stream that's significant, and coupling that with a much stickier product, what you'll find is that with a better renewal stream type of products, there's definitely more of an advantage longer term to have passive income or renewal income, to be more accurate in describing from those products than it is with first year commission. So the downside, of course, we kind of mentioned it there with a Medicare product, is the renewal stream isn't that good. First year commission is okay, and but it's not like final expense or mortgage protection, which can be a multiple of what the first year Medicare is. So really the main difference here is, if you've got the ability financially to work a year or two to develop a book of business, and you can take a lower first year commission, renewals on Medicare and working in the Medicare market's great. One of the great things, you talk to a lot of Medicare guys that have been doing this long enough, after 3, 4, 5 years, they're making 6 figures before they get out of debt. And that is great. And that's really the main reason to be in this business for a lot of people, is the fact that you can get renewals based off of your past work. It's great. I can tell you that for sure. So, but if you need to make money yesterday, first year commission driven products, probably going to be more in your neighborhood of what you should consider. And then the last point here is, do you like selling at the kitchen table with mom and pop, or do you prefer working with businesses? So again, this kind of goes back to my original point. Do you have more of an inclination towards kitchen table sales and kind of the details to go along with it, and vice versa if you're selling small business owners or businesses? There's, again, different dynamics in play. One of the most obvious with kitchen table work, primarily, especially if you work a working class kitchen table market, you're going to be at the house after dinner, after work time, late into the night. You're not going to do a lot of day work because you work when everybody else doesn't. Whereas with business owners, you'll find you can work a regular type of schedule and see business owners at work while they're on the job. So, and then of course, like I said, there's different markets, different requirements, different aspects of working business versus residential. And again, a lot of that I think will come back to your experience. So let me summarize here, guys, for you guys just tuning in. Purpose of this call was really just to recording was just to give you an idea of where to head in the direction of what kind of products you want to sell. Again, this is more geared towards new agents and those experienced, but maybe not happy with what they're selling. And the 5 aspects here to consider, of course, is what type of population you enjoy working with. Do you want to sell a technical product, or is a less technical product better? How fast you want the sales cycle to go? Are you okay with the long cycle? Do you prefer a first-year driven product at the expense of a renewal product, renewal-driven product? Because usually one is not the other. Or would you prefer a renewal-driven product but can take the time, the maybe couple of years it takes to build up a sufficient renewal stream? And then number 5, do you prefer to work at the kitchen table with mom and pop at the residence or at the home, or do you prefer businesses to work with? Generally speaking, kind of summarize this to kind of give you hopefully some direction. If you're first year, a lot of recruits that come into this business, they into the first year driven or the commission driven aspect of it, and as well as the simplicity. If you're new, I believe it's important to start off with a newer product. Start off with a simpler product, and preferably one that pays decently. So I personally like products like mortgage protection. I like final expense. I think those are quick and easy types of sales, but there's a large mass market population you can go work. It doesn't take a lot of specialized knowledge. I also like Medicare. I think Medicare is one of the renewal-driven products you can get into. Ask anybody who's sold Medicare for 5 or 10 years. They're living a great lifestyle if they've worked somewhat hard over the past 5 or 10 years in building a book of business and clientele. If you're looking for the more technical aspects, I would look into the business side of the deal, looking into white collar sales, working with estates, putting up estate deals for business owners, and corresponding there. There's a lot of opportunity in that, but there's a lot of training and technical aspects to consider. So if you have any questions about kind of clarifying which direction you want to go, with what kind of product you think will work well, feel free to leave a comment below. Be happy to address you and kind of give you my idea, what your concerns are, and what kind of direction you're looking for. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. I do videos Monday through Friday on all sorts of subjects related to selling insurance successfully and helping you out as an agent. My name is Dave Duford at Final Expense Agent Mentor. Logging off. Y'all take care. See you.